What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new show here on the No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast called Blast from the Past, and this is the Payback edition. Basically what the show is going to be about, ladies and gentlemen, is every upcoming pay-per-view, so now Payback is a week away, we're going to be basically reviewing the past pay-per-views and having our top matches from that certain pay-per-view. So obviously we're not, like SummerSlam, we're not going to do SummerSlam every single pay-per-view and review all of them because there's like over 25 of them. But since Payback, there's only been 3, we're going to go through each one and basically give a review on it really shortly and our top 3 matches of all time from that pay-per-view. So guys, as always, I'm Kyle Masters. You can follow me on Twitter at RealKyleMasters, and I am joined by my co-host, as always, the boss, Mr. Corporate himself, Corporate Cappy.
Since we're going throwback, don't forget Match Technician.
Match Technician, Corporate Cappy. You can follow the podcast itself, too, guys, on Twitter. Like us on Facebook, and subscribe to us on YouTube. All the links will be posted in the description below. This broadcast is broadcast live on Spreaker Radio at Spreaker.com/NHBWP. And after it's done, it's posted on YouTube in full. So, guys, let's get into it. Payback 2013. I just got to adjust the mic here just a little bit. There we go. And apologize for the echoiness, guys. We're having technical issues today. So we do apologize for how echoey it is, if that's ever a word. But Payback 2013 opened up with Sheamus defeating Damien Sandow.
Was Sandow relevant? Like, did he have the Money in the Bank back then? Was that?
I think he did, yeah, before he cashed it in on John Cena. That leather briefcase.
Yeah.
He was kind of relevant. People were waiting. People actually thought he was going to win that time, too.
Yeah.
They faced Sheamus in a singles match. It was only a 10-minute match. I guess there's nothing else much to say about that match.
Yeah, too bad Sandow just completely fallen from grace now.
Moving on, we had Chris Axel defeat Wade Barrett and The Miz in a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. This is back when Chris Axel kind of became relevant and became the Paul Heyman guy.
And he
when
was
Paul Heyman introduced him. And then before that, we haven't seen him since he was Michael McGillicuddy. That was god-awful, too, if anyone remembers that. Good on you. We had AJ Lee defeat Caitlyn for the Divas Championship back when Big E and AJ were first being together with Dolph Ziggler. Yep. This is a quick 10-minute match. This was basically around the time Caitlyn's career was coming to an end.
Yeah. And
then she moved on to bigger and better things. If you guys don't know what Caitlyn's doing nowadays, go check it out. Moving on, Dean Ambrose defeated Kane via countout for the United States Championship.
When Dean Ambrose had the U.S. title that he never defended.
I'm trying to remember, is that... Corporate Kane wasn't around in 2014, so that was the Demon Kane when he came out with that metal mask.
Yeah.
Great. Here's a match we can talk about. Del Rio defeated Dolph Ziggler for the World Heavyweight Championship.
What a match. Great match. That was when Del Rio was face.
Yep.
And Ziggler was heel. And they played off an injury angle in it where Del Rio was just brutally beating Ziggler. And the commentators kind of started to go against... They were saying, wow, Del Rio's beating on him. This is bad.
Yep.
And then he just kept shots to the head of Ziggler. And then he hit him with the kick, the Del Rio kick.
I'm pretty sure this caused Ziggler a concussion in this match. He got a concussion after this.
And it basically was a double turn. Del Rio turned heel, and Ziggler turned face in this match. Which is awesome, because that's rarely ever seen
and people
anymore.
Can say that he turned face at the Raw after WrestleMania, but all the heels get cheered after that. You can't really say that's a face turn.
Yeah, but this was the official face turn and the official heel turn for Del Rio, winning back the world title that he lost when Ziggler cashed it in.
Yeah, then this was back when Ricardo Rodriguez was in ADR's corner, back when he used to have his own match announcer. Yep. And you come out in those $1 million cars. You had Big E and AJ Lee in the corner of Dolph Ziggler. What a triple team that is. Yeah. Ziggler, E, and AJ Lee. Nowadays you're going, what the hell is that? But back then it made sense for some reason.
Big E didn't really talk. He was just a muscle back then.
He wasn't really a talker back then either. Now with the New Day, he's more of a talker. But
really good match. That was a really, really good match. And the way the whole storyline played out, Del Rio and Ziggler had a really good feud for a couple months.
Yep, that's right. Moving on, we had CM Punk defeating Chris Jericho. This was CM Punk's return after taking a hiatus after his match against Jericho at WrestleMania. He came back, and it was in Chicago, this pay-per-view, Payback, so he got a huge reaction. Came back out with Paul Heyman. This was the debut of that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu sweater. I own one of those blue ones, actually.
Ooh.
I remember me and one of our good friends, Matt, went and got one right away because we thought it was the coolest thing ever. This was a 21-minute match, and it's actually really good. This actually ended up being a really, really good match, especially for Punk since he hadn't wrestled in a couple months, so he had sort of some ring rust, but they quickly got kicked to the curb, all that ring rust, and it ended up being a really good match. Jericho's good at selling, too, so, I mean, they put on a really good match.
I think we were all thought we were going to like get swerved in that match because Punk and Heyman kind of had like they were kind of having a falling out a little bit.
Yeah,
people thought like Heyman was going to turn on Punk there.
Yeah, and that ended up being at Money in the Bank later on that year. Next match, I don't really remember this match. Neither does my co-host here. The Shield defeated Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton.
I don't even remember this being a match.
This must have been when the Shield was still heel and people didn't really like the Shield. And it was for the tag team championships.
Like I don't even remember Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton ever feuding.
Yeah, so they obviously Rollins and Reigns picked up the victory. So it wasn't Ambrose. I mean, I think Ambrose was the United States champion at the time.
He was.
Yeah, he was when he was United States champion. He never defended it.
Yep.
Then the main event of that Payback was John Cena defeating Ryback. And that was back when Ryback did the heel turn at Raw after WrestleMania. And everyone loved that. And it was for the WWE Championship. So Ryback, I think just thinking about that, like Ryback was in the WWE Championship picture back then. Look what he is now.
And I think at WrestleMania that year he lost to Mark Henry.
Yeah.
And then he came out somehow gets put in the WWE title picture.
And this was a 3 stages of hell match, and Cena winning 2-1. I sort of vaguely remember this. I mean, it wasn't that great, but it was definitely interesting. It was the second match. They had a first match at Extreme Rules, and this was the second match in their kind of mini feud. I think it only lasted a couple more months.
Well, this was a 25-minute match, so I don't know how...
Ryback, man. He used to be wrestling 25-minute matches. Like, it's crazy to think about that.
I feel like he probably got carried for most of the match.
Yeah.
But I don't even remember what the 3 stages of hell were, to be honest with you. But
I'm remembering now. There was the last man standing. I think that was the last one. I think the first match was a tables match. And no, the second one was a tables match. And the first one, I think, was... Oh, I don't remember the first one. I can't remember. I think it was something like Falls Count Anywhere or something like that.
Let us know if you know, guys.
Let us know, guys, if you know, if you remember. Because I really don't want to go back and look at it. Because, 1, I vaguely care about that. And 2, I'm just going to move on.
On to the first match of Payback 2014.
Payback 2014.
This was the first one that we did for No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast.
The hair versus mask match. And this was at the time when we didn't have the network, so we couldn't even watch this match. This was on the network pre-show. Back when here in Canada, we didn't have the network yet. It was just you guys in the United States.
And I feel like we didn't want to watch it anyway.
Yeah, it was El Torito versus Hornswoggle. And with El Torito winning, so Hornswoggle had to shave his head, and I remember that. And then you had Diego and Fernando in one corner, and Slater, McIntyre, and Mahal, the 3-man band.
Wow, that feels like so long ago, huh?
God, that was 2 years ago.
I mean, El Torito and Hornswoggle was our worst match of the year with the WLC match, so I mean, I'm sure this was just as bad.
Okay, so we're going to move on. Sheamus defeated Cesaro for the United States Championship. This was back when Cesaro became a Paul Heyman guy. Oh. If everyone remembers that promo after the Raw after WrestleMania. When he left Zeb Coulter to become a Paul Heyman guy.
I'm not a Zeb Coulter guy. I'm a Paul Heyman guy. And the crowd went ballistic.
Yep. And Sheamus was the champion, successfully defended it. It was an 11-minute match, so not that long of a match. So that's kind of shitty.
We thought it was going to be the Cesaro push. You were calling for it back then.
Yeah, we were calling for it back then, and it looks like he's finally getting it now. So I love it. But not much else to say about that match. It looks really quickly, and I kind of remember a little bit of it, but nothing really much to talk about. But
next match.
Yeah, next match. We have Ryback. So back when Ryback and Curtis Axel teamed up, defeating Cody Rhodes and Goldust. That was pretty cool. Then they had that feud with the
Golden Smoke.
Yeah, and they had to incorporate Dusty Rhodes putting their jobs on the line. That whole storyline that was that year.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And I remember I think you went to the Battleground one.
Yeah, against the Shield. That was like one of the best matches of the year.
Yeah.
When they won the titles from the Shield.
But this looks like it was a basic tag match. It was only 7 minutes long. So
good for Ryback, man.
Yeah, we can move on from that. Next we had Rusev defeating Big E. Rusev, this was basically like around the debut of Rusev.
And Big E had just lost the IC title, and he wasn't really doing much.
Yeah, and basically, we got a little technical difficulties here. Our one light going off in the room here. Looks like the bulb's out or something. Let me go fix it in a sec. Yeah, it was via submission, and it was only 3 minutes and 40 seconds long. So I'm going to fix the light while Brandon kind of talks about that. I mean, you can't really talk about that match.
I mean, Big E, I don't know, he didn't really have much of a character back then. Like, he wasn't really given much mic time. He wasn't really talking about anything.
This light's out.
All right,
we have a light bulb out here.
We do it live at No Holds Barred here,
So we're gonna keep going with it. We're gonna keep going, guys.
Yeah, it was just that bulb was just as bland as Big E's character back then. It was just as bland as Big E's character back then. So.
That light just got jobbed by Rusev, just like Big E got jobbed by.
I'm glad Big E finally has something that he's doing now that's fantastic.
Yeah, I know.
But back then,
he just got owned. He just got fed to Rusev, who was just killing people then.
Oh yeah, he was killing Big Show and Mark Henry and all the big dudes. And
moving on to the number 5, we have Kofi Kingston versus Bo Dallas, which didn't even really start. I remember going to watch it because I was curious, so I went on YouTube and looked at this. Basically, before the match, before they could do anything, Kane came out, and he was in that steel mask again still. And he comes out and destroys Kofi Kingston as Bo Dallas runs out of the ring and just watches. I guess that started a feud between Kane and Kofi Kingston. I really don't remember that, so it must have not been relevant. Or Kane was just killing people for no reason.
What was that? Bo Dallas's first match?
Yeah, it was around Bo Dallas's debuting too.
Wow, great.
Next match, Bad News Barrett defeats Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental Championship in a 10-minute match. I kind of feel like that was okay. Yeah, this was back when RVD was still with the company, like his return, and now we haven't heard from him since.
Yeah, he's been gone.
I guess that was like a one-off thing. But moving on, John Cena and the Bray Wyatt Last Man Standing match.
And you said this was the last chapter of their feud.
Yeah,
right?
This was the end of their feud. Cena had also had help from the Usos, and Wyatt had help from Harper and Rowan. So they helped each other win, and I think I remember Cena winning. This is the Last Man Standing match. Was this the one where he put him in that box, or he put him on or was it the announce table? I think it was the announce table, and he stood on it. No, that was against Big Show. I don't know what I'm thinking of. I can't really remember how. I know Bray Wyatt didn't get knocked out and lost. He got held down or something. I'm trying to remember how he won that match. It's bugging the hell out of me because this was a good match. I remember parts of this match. I just don't remember the ending.
We'll get back.
We'll get back to it. Moving on though, my girl Paige defeating Alicia Fox
when she was back with her crazy ass gimmick. When she was beating up ring crew and stuff,
grabbing popcorn from the crowd and throwing it and stuff. Oh, this was back when Alicia Fox was just nutty. If anyone remembers that. But for the Divas Championship, that butterfly title, that piece of crap title, my girl Paige was the champion, winning on her first night that year. And she successfully defended it in a 6-minute match against Alicia Fox. So good for my girl Paige, Yeah. I give all the credit to her. She's a 2-time Divas champion, won it in her first night from AJ Lee, ending her streak. So that was a good year for Paige, and I loved that year, and it made me fall in love with Paige even more. But yeah, good for Paige. Moving on to the main event. We had The Shield defeating Evolution. Rollins, Ambrose, and Reigns against Orton, Triple H, and Blue Tista, the debut of Blue Tista.
Oh my god. I just saw they had the Payback 2014 on the network last week. I watched that match.
A no-holds-barred elimination match.
Yeah. And the best part was none of the eliminations happened. This was a 30-minute match. They probably all happened beyond the 26-minute mark. No eliminations happened until they were just brawling everywhere.
This was the payback, I think you remember, where Seth Rollins jumped from the Titantron onto everybody. And the Blue Tista, man. You're already getting booed already. Why would you wear something like that?
They were just brawling everywhere. I think at one point they brawled to the, what do you call it? The control table.
Okay, yeah, and then
Orton. Rollins jumped off, and Triple H took the monitor and hit him right in the head.
Oh my
hit him right in the head with
God.
a TV monitor. It was nuts.
This match was unreal. I'm remembering parts.
This was one of our
now.
top 3 matches of the year in 2014. I remember.
Yeah.
That was a really good match because it was 30 minutes long. No eliminations happened until late in the match. Batista just got bodied.
Blue Tista.
Yeah, sorry, Blue Tista. And it was a clean sweep for Evolution too.
Yeah.
They eliminated Batista and Orton, and then Triple H got in with the sledgehammer, and then he just got fucked up too.
Yeah. But man, insane match. Blue Tista, what an idiot. This guy. Does he realize that they made that into a doll? And they actually called it... This is actually a WWE licensed action figure called Blue Tista. And he's wearing that exact attire.
I don't know what he was trying to go for with that attire. Like, what was he going for? Was it like a superhero or something?
A blue hero.
I got the highlights of that match. Again, the Bray Wyatt Cena match.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Uso did like his... like when he hits him in the butt, like when he...
Oh, yeah.
He hit Eric Rowan through a table like that, like fucking hit him in the ass right through the table. And then the fucking one spot was nuts. Luke Harper did a superplex onto the other Uso.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that. Table. Yep.
And then, yeah, the part you were talking about was... Cena like hit him into like some box near like the control table.
Yeah, and then we're watching it right now, guys. Yeah, he FU'd him into the box.
Yeah,
and he put the other box on top of him.
Yeah,
and that's considered last man standing. So I was right. Right initially. So,
but I remember that Luke Harper spot where he hit him with the superplex right off the top rope onto the table. That was nice.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. Yeah. Oh my God, that was one of my favorite. I think I remember talking about that. That was one of my favorite parts of the match.
Yeah.
But moving on, guys, to Payback from last year.
And you'd think that we would remember most of this stuff.
But again, we look at it and we're like, shit, yeah, that really happened?
Well, like, who the fuck's going to remember this first match?
R-Truth versus Stardust. I mean,
what was that, match of the year?
That's probably match of the year right there. 6-minute match? That's not bad. I mean, 7. I mean, good for that. But move on.
Good for R-Truth getting the win. I don't remember what the fuck he did.
It was on him. He won that. Next one was basically around the time the Ascension debuted, and we thought they were going to be extremely dominant.
No, you thought they were going to be dominant.
Yeah,
I never liked these guys.
I thought just because watching them in NXT, they were like the most dominant tag team. So I'm like, okay, so these guys are going to be good in WWE, and they ended up being shit, and now look, one of them suspended for 60 days, so... But they faced the Mega Powers, Curtis Axelmania, and Macho Man.
What a team this was.
That was awesome. That was the best team ever because I remember I thought it was going to take off and then, the whole Hulk Hogan thing and then they had to cut the Axelmania right away, which I'm pissed about. But this was only a quick 2-minute match, so they got jobbed.
Yeah.
Move on. Sheamus defeated Ziggler in a singles match.
I feel like
I don't even remember that.
Because we've seen it probably like 1,000 times.
I mean, that reminds me of like a Monday Night Raw match. Like, do I want to see that at pay-per-view? No.
I think that was when Sheamus returned as a heel.
It's just like this Payback. Now he's facing Baron Corbin. Like, Ziggler's just there to get jobbed.
By the upcoming heels. Yeah. That's about it.
Moving on, we had the New Day defeating Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, Swiss Beats.
I honestly feel like this was a really good match.
It was a 2 out of 3 falls match. I remember this match. When I was writing this down, I went and looked at a couple of highlights from that match. It was really well done. The New Day winning 2-1. Basically, this was around the start where they were getting popular. Like, they were heels, the crowd was starting to get into them.
Yeah.
And now look at them. They're one of the most over tag teams in the world.
Yeah. That was back when you still didn't like New Day.
Yeah, and it's a 12-minute match, so it must have been really good, because the highlights I seen were actually pretty good.
Before Tyson Kidd and Cesaro both went on the shelf,
Yeah. But moving on, Bray Wyatt defeated Ryback. I watched this today, this was on the network. It was okay. The ending was pretty crazy with...
Didn't Ryback hit the
Ryback kind of like exposed the turnbuckle himself by accident, and then Bray Wyatt pushed him into it and then into his sister Abigail.
Yeah, I think.
But it was actually a pretty good match.
Really, for a Ryback match?
It was about 11 minutes, so it was not bad.
For a Ryback match?
Yeah, I mean, the crowd wasn't into it, but I thought there was a lot of good spots. Moving on, we had John Cena defeating Rusev in an I Quit match. I watched this one today, too. This was really, really good. 30-minute match in the middle of the card. I mean, that's pretty good. This being really cool, and then like everything was like torn apart at the end of this match. Like the first rope was torn off because Cena used it to choke Rusev with the. He used it as I remember if you remember, Brandon. Remember he used it as for the STF. He had it around his neck, and then Lana comes in the ring and then says he's saying I quit.
Oh yeah, that was the start of the Rusev Lana like disconnect.
Yeah.
Because he didn't quit, Lana quit for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was a really good match.
And that was the end of their USA versus Russia feud, which was a good feud.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I thought it was really good. I mean, when Cena winning the title at WrestleMania, that was like the first time we were able to cheer for John Cena.
because that was Rusev's first loss.
Yeah.
I think that was the end chapter of that feud, wasn't it?
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was.
Okay.
Moving on, we had Naomi and Tamina defeating the Bella Twins. Cool, we're going to move on.
Yeah, that was before the Divas Revolution happened.
Yeah, who cares? Moving on, we had Neville defeating King Barrett. I think this was around the time Neville debuted too, so it's kind of like a showcase match. It was a count-out, though. He defeated him by count-out. I think he knocked King Barrett out. I'm trying to remember what the end of that match was, but whatever. We can move on from that. I mean, King Barrett's becoming more irrelevant too. He's done with the company basically as of June. So we have the main event. This was actually pretty cool. Rollins defeated Reigns, Ambrose, and Orton in a fatal 4-way for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then if the stipulation was, if Rollins lost, Kane would have been fired as Director of Operations. It's a 20-minute match. There was the one spot, if anyone remembers, there was the one spot in this match where the Shield kind of reunited for like 30 seconds, where they gave the Shield powerbomb to Randy Orton, and the crowd was going nuts, and then basically Ambrose and Reigns looked at each other and kicked the crap out of Rollins after.
Yeah, no, Rollins was like, hey, good job, guys, and then they looked at him and just started beating the fuck out of him.
I mean, it's a fatal 4-way match. You know what's going to happen.
I think this was like your moment of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was my moment of the year from our NHBWP Slammy Awards.
Yeah, you haven't checked that out, go check it out.
Yeah, go check it out. It's somewhere on our YouTube page.
Yeah.
But guys, that's it for those three. I mean, we're going to do a predictions video soon for our upcoming Payback. But we're getting into it to our top 3 moments in Payback history. And I'm gonna leave it off to Brandon. Corporate Cappy.
We're gonna go from 3 to 1?
3 to 1.
Okay, we'll go from 3 to 1. Okay, so number 3, I guess I'll go with the John Cena Rusev I Quit match. I feel you talking about it, it's like coming back to me now, and I remember that spot with the second rope wrapping around Rusev for the STF. So I'm gonna put that.
That's a pretty good number 3 pick. I mean, that match was just unreal by itself. So
yeah,
it's a good number 3.
Yeah.
My number 3, CM Punk defeating Chris Jericho in his return to Chicago.
I'm actually shocked this isn't higher on your list.
I mean, it was really. I mean, it was hype, but it wasn't that much hype. And I'm like, oh, maybe like at the time I was like, hey, it's sick having Punk back, but man, is his career taking a toll on him and it's catching up to him? Like this is probably, and this was in the same year, almost the ending of Punk. It was like a year from then, like Punk was done with the company.
This was during all of his injuries and stuff. I remember like him talking during his podcast about not even wanting to wrestle just because he was so injured.
Yeah. So I mean, I put that at number 3 on my list just because 1, I'm a huge Punk fan, and 2, Chris Jericho's an outstanding wrestler, and they put on a pretty good match.
And they had it
was a better match than what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, they had a really, really good feud, like tying in Punk's family, making it very, very personal.
And like the best in the world versus the best in the world. Everything I do.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, it was a good choice.
Going to my number 2, I'm gonna say the Shield and Evolution. That was a really, really good match. That was one of my favorite matches of that year.
Yeah.
Just because the fact that, like, in an elimination match, you never usually see the eliminations happen in the last fucking 3 minutes of the match.
Yeah, that's true, because that's nuts. I mean, you can't argue with that.
And they just brawled everywhere, and then, like, Rollins jumping off the Titantron, like that.
Yeah.
Like, just great spots.
My number 2 has to deal with the Shield, but it's not that match. It is when Rollins defeated Reigns, Ambrose, and Orton with the Shield tease, the Fatal 4-Way match. I remember lots of parts from this, even Kane getting involved because his freaking job was on the line and making sure Rollins won that goddamn match. And I mean, he was called the Director of Operations, whatever the hell that is.
I miss Corporate Kane, man. He was my favorite.
That was around the time Corporate Kane kind of debuted too.
Yeah, without Corporate Kane, there'd be no Corporate Cappy. So I love the guy.
That's my number 2. Let's get into the number 1. Top Payback match of all time.
You know what? This is not a homer pick. Well, kind of. But, I mean, I think it was a really good match. Del Rio versus Ziggler. Payback 2013.
I'm feeling there's some bias around this.
The double turn, though?
Yeah.
Did anyone see the double turn happening?
No. I think I remember us talking about that, too, and how that was crazy the double turn was.
And, like, just, like, the brutality, like, Del Rio had on Ziggler in that match.
Like, and getting the concussion.
Yeah, like, just keep knocking him in the head. Like, it was bad.
Besides putting your favorite dude on besides that, just, it makes sense for that be a number 1. It was a great match, and
they had
the backstory and whatever happened after was just amazing.
They had a really good feud too. Those two were really good performers. They really work well together.
Yeah. My number 1 match was actually your number 2 pick.
Okay. My
number 1 match was the Shield vs. Evolution. Again, what an unreal match! 30 minutes long. and we get to see Triple H and Batista and Orton back together. Like
Yeah.
we were wanting Evolution to get back together before this. I remember us talking about it, and they actually got back together, and I was so excited for that. And they're facing the Shield.
It was the only problem with this was that the crowd didn't get behind the whole Evolution returning thing. Like when they first returned, it was like dead. Like the crowd, like
what? Who's this?
It was terrible. Like I wish like the crowd would have got into
Connecticut?
it. Like it was like it was like the faction of the past versus the faction of the future.
Yeah. I mean, this was like, and it's a no holds barred elimination match. I mean, just the spots alone in this match were insane.
And this was the second match, right? Because they had one at
they had another one at no, they had one at Extreme Rules, and this is the second one at the Payback, the ending.
Yeah.
And I remember like it was a couple Raws after that where Batista quit.
It was the Raw after Batista.
Okay, yeah, it was the Raw after where Batista quit. Yeah,
and
it was.
Rollins turned on that was the last match of the Shield.
Oh, it was, yeah. That was the turn.
Last match of the Shield because Seth Rollins turned the night after that.
Yep, that's my number one pick right there.
that is a historic match.
Yep, and that is my number one best Payback match of all time.
I think if we did like a Luke Gallows poll for this, that would probably be the number one match anyone would pick. I would think.
I hope Payback. So. You know, for people out there that follow WWE closely,
I mean that or the fucking
IWC out there,
that or the El Torito Hornswoggle.
No, that's not. That's like the number one and worst Payback matches of all time.
We can give it undisputed worst match.
But other than that, guys, this is the debut of our new show, Blast from the Past.
Yep. Payback
edition, and then we'll get into the one next month, Extreme Rules. Actually, it's going to be like in a couple of weeks because Extreme Rules is the same month as May. So we'll get into the Extreme. The Extreme Rules one is good. I mean, there's been a ton. I mean, that's dating back to the debut of it when it was called One Night Stand, 2007. So it's going to be interesting to see what our favorite one is. That was called One Night Stand Extreme Rules. I don't know if you remember that. That was basically the debut of Extreme Rules.
Was that like an ECW?
It was the year after. No, it's the year after ECW died. It was like that WWE ECW.
Okay.
That shitty one.
With like the purple title. Ugh.
Yeah. But other than that, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this new show, Blast from the Past. Guys, you can go on Twitter and follow the podcast itself. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. All the links will be posted in the description below. You can also follow me and my co-host here, me at Real Kyle Masters. And my co-host
at Corporate Cappy.
At Corporate Cappy. Master Technician Brandon.
Oh, yeah.
This episode was broadcast live on Spreaker Radio at Spreaker.com/NHBWP. And after it's done, it's going to be posted on our YouTube channel, guys. Thanks for listening. And until next time, stay classy in the past. I mean, I haven't found an outro for this. We'll see. I'll think of it, and then we'll get to it in the next Blast from the Past.
Yeah, sure.
But take care, guys. Tune in Thursday, actually, for our Lowdown show.
Nope. I
guess I can throw that plug in there. And sponsored by Bootios. They make sure you ain't booty.
Victory is all you need, so cultivate and plant the seed. Hold your breath and count to 10. Just count to 10.